This is the earnings special on Bloomberg Quint, and we are taking stock of earnings from Persistent Systems. The earnings have been steady, and even though they have missed or rather been below consensus expectations, we are looking at some positives to take through as far as the quarter is concerned. But to talk to us about the quarter gone by and what we can expect from Persistent Systems going forward, we have the new CEO of the company, Chris O'Connor. Chris, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time out. Let me just begin by asking you about this particular quarter itself. What is your assessment? I want to talk about your services business because there's been just an ever so slight gradual improvement. But the real question is for the outlook going forward. What's going on here and what can we expect from this particular area in the next 3 or 4 quarters?
Fantastic, and nice to meet you, and thank you for having me here today. We'll just start with just a brief overview of how the company did. We did $119 million in the quarter, a PAT at 82.5 crores, and that breaks into revenue growth of around our linear growth around 1.2%, our IP revenue growth around 0.8%. And so that's our performance in a nutshell, and obviously there's a lot more richness. We can talk about that. My first quarter in the company, and you asked me about assessment and how I view our business. If you look inside of our customer base and you look inside of our performance, they tie together. And you look backwards into 2019 minus maybe one big deal. Very consistent set of performance. A very consistent set of growth in terms of volume, consistent set of growth in people on board. We crossed 10,000 people in this quarter for the first time in the company, and that's exciting to see that consistency. I went out and met with all of the customers I could find. I went out and met with all of our partner CEOs and their key leadership teams to get a measure of our business in terms of not only how do our customers see us, but how do our partners who are making all of these platforms in the world see us as well. I view our current business as very project-oriented, and even inside of our IP-led business, which has a software business inside of it, it's a short-term transactional-oriented view, so it has some lumpiness that goes along with it because projects come and go, and if you get a little cluster that stops and starts at the same time, you got a lump. So we need to take that lumpiness in these customers because it's a great set of recurring customers. And we need to bring them forward into a more longer-term annuity-oriented value discussion, and this is where the partners come in. All of our partners are encouraging us to build value around their portfolio, not just to seek project work, but to build value with them in the markets that they serve, whether that's banking, or whether that's insurance, or whether that's healthcare, life sciences, or industrial sector. They're encouraging us to be great at the project work, and we are today in a lot of places, but to also be great at helping extend their value, and in that, think of new revenue composition models around value streams of reseller project work that's encompass of a total scope, as well as our own IP and professional services margins put in there as well. And it gives us a different thought. And if you ask me about our services-led business, that's the transition that's in front of them. Our largest client has given us a starter kit for how to do this, which is not only the work we do for them, but the work we do to sell them is up and running. And that gives us a model that we can replicate backwards into everything else that we do. And that's a strength that we have that I intend to capitalize on.
Okay, fair enough, Chris. Then let's talk about operational margins. And the fact that there has been contraction in operational margins doesn't just apply for Persistent Systems, but it has applied for the entire industry. It's something that, the industry has had to grapple with. My question really is, what do you attribute this contraction in operating margins to, and what can we expect going forward in terms of improvement?
So if you just kind of look at our current quarter, we've got a couple factors that really hit current quarter margin, right? It's our seasonal visa timing, and we've got a set of work that goes into making that happen, and that takes place in the quarter, and there's an expense that goes along with that. We continue to work through the ILFS payouts and that discussion in terms of making sure we accrue that correctly, and that factors in. Those are big factors right there. Those are almost 200 basis points alone. Our IP revenue switch, or IP revenue in terms of selling it by itself versus selling it more total value oriented, that gives us about another 80 basis points in there also. And that's kind of the big three that give you kind of a view of what some of our margin fluctuation points are. If you ask me to look forward, we're obviously tooling. We're obviously shifting in part of the company to be able to go after this annuity-oriented value revenue stream that we talked about. We're changing some folks, we're changing some people. We've got some salary increases coming up that'll give us, I don't know, 250 to 300 basis points hit. And so you'll see some of that continue to play out. But our goal is to be in our historical past of the types of margins that you'd expect when you look forward long term. The timing of how we get there is the question that I am pushing on myself and the team. But that is the type of goal that we see and is possible. But we've got some things to work through as we make some further transition and go after where we see we can take our clients.
Right, Chris, there's the other aspect when it comes to, well, the supply of talent. Now, as you streamline your new strategy that you want to employ for persistent systems, the industry does face the challenge of finding the right talent for the right work. And that also leads to pressure when it comes to costs. Well, how are you pursuing this? How are you seeing this? What is your observation here? And do you think that could be a near-term challenge for persistent systems as well?
It's a constant work item is how I view it. And it's one of those items that you can't take your eye off of. The machine I found when I got here, fairly phenomenal to watch the machine work in terms of acquisition of talent worldwide and the process that goes along with it. I'm excited to see some of the things that we have inside of our own capabilities, like Persistent University, which is an internal training capability that we provide for our people. And we're tooling through some of that in terms of how we go and advance that and work on retention. Likewise, I'm very excited to see our worldwide aspects. I'm very, from my past, familiar with running worldwide teams. And the sites that we have in Mexico, the sites that we have in Canada, some of the work that we do around the world, even in Europe, as we see progress in Europe. We recently, in this current quarter, that we're in today, announced an acquisition inside of there to bring in talent around Salesforce. So I view talent as a constant eye watch. I don't see talent as a significant headwind for us at this point in time. And if you think global and you think how to grow and you think north-south as much as you think east-west, talent becomes a shell game that you're always playing and you can never take your eye off of. And I think that's just what we have to do.
Okay, fair enough, Chris. Just two more questions then. What has also been a talking point over the past 1 or 2 years is the sales force, that is your sales and marketing team for persistent systems specifically. How are you restructuring that team? And if you could tell us anything about the kind of incentive structure that you plan to formulate for persistent systems.
The overall answer is yes, we have. And let me give you a few highlights of that as well. If you think about how Persistent works with clients, we think about places where we build value. We build value in technology around data, security, cloud, code systems, and other areas. We build value for clients around banking as a vertical expertise, financial systems, healthcare, life sciences, industrial sector, just to call out a few of our major points. And our marketing team has not been focused on providing that story. We've reoriented the marketing team, and you will see us tell the story of some of these great things that we do today, as well as tell the great story of what we can do for our clients in these categories as you look forward. And so these categories for us form rich abilities to tell the current stories. I thought I knew a lot about Persistent when I came here, and as a former member of Persistent's largest client, and having worked with Persistent for 10 years and known Anand all that time, I knew a lot. I was amazed at the untold stories that Persistent has to tell the market about who we are and the types of projects we've done for people and the ROI that we bring their business. You will see our marketing team starting to do that, and we've structured to go with that into category-oriented focus, and you'll see us come out as we look forward into telling those stories. Sales goes in the same vector of alignment, which is we have these great category capabilities. We've had software capabilities sitting in a brand called Accelerate, and we've kind of chosen by our own choice to tell these as individual stories. I view them as almost individual points of light. An individual seller taking down a great deal, an individual software sale taking place to an individual great client. We haven't brought that together into organized plays where we can create value for clients and work with them on longer term than just short-term projects or the need of our software, but into really what we can do for them. And we have restructured sales. We've brought in a brilliant sales leader, Sandeep Kalra, over top of our services unit, and working with him, we've restructured to match the same segments I just talked to you about in marketing, and you're going to see us attack in that flavor, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right, fair enough. And a final question then, Chris. What I've been reading about is also the fact that you guys are approaching new areas of work with existing clientele to drive deeper engagements. What does this mean? If you could tell us a little more about how this is advantageous for Persistent Systems.
So when you think about a client and they have a need and they want a piece of work that's done, have you explained to them by linking other parts of the project with them that you can do greater value with it at the same time? That's an internal to the client discussion that Persistent has rehearsed, and we grow value that way. And it's a great cross-sell mechanism, and the team does a fine job on that today. The build it together for longer term annuity value is the next step, rather than just project work, but the next step. And to me, that's a nice incremental step that we know how to do. I've done before in my past, and I know Sandeep has, and we can take the team there. Additionally to that, many of our clients have go-to-market issues of their own, meaning we're in the middle of doing project work. We learn all about how they build and do their business, but they need help with their own clients about how to go execute and go tackle their challenges. And they actually need people that can come in and solve problems beyond what they do. And we offer those solutions, and we go to our clients and we tell them, we can help you not only with your internal challenge as a technology group, but we can go build value around you as well. And we've done that. In fact, with our largest client, to me, it's a path that helps us offset having them as our largest client, which is to go build value with their clients. And over a course of years, we'll be the people that help build longer-term value with our largest clients' capabilities as well as our capabilities of others. And we recently partnered with our largest client's sister partner. And so that puts us in the middle now of bringing together capabilities from two vendors and showing their clients how to use the capabilities in a value stream. And to us, that's music to our ears, because that puts us in there richly and makes us valuable to them for the long term.
Okay. All right, Chris, we leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us and fielding all our questions. We wish you the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.